What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. I hope, as always, that you are having a fantastic day. I'm having a wonderful day. The hair's growing back nicely. We're eating healthy. Things are going well, guys. Things are going well. And you know what? Speaking of going well, I have been pretty positive towards Plarium over the last week. I think this is the most positive I've been towards Plarium in a very, very, very long time. But here's the thing. Positivity is good, and I like positivity, and I've enjoyed being able to say lots of nice things about Plarium. But there was one part of the updates that they did recently that really, I was not a fan of, that I was extremely bummed to see. And that is that they decided, or I should say, or that they spoke about not doing more champion buffs. Now, I'm going to cover why this is an issue. I want to kind of give you the data as to why I think this is really an area that they need to improve. It doesn't really make sense that they wouldn't do more buffs, because if you look at it, they have done exceedingly few buffs relative to the champion pool. And on top of that, and this is the other thing, the buffs they have done are, shall we say, hit or miss. So this is a video to essentially kind of lay that out and maybe get Plarium to commit to a little bit more, because I really think we need it. So let me show you what I'm talking about so that you can understand. Let's see here. We've got all of our fun buffs up. I actually pulled all of the champions that were buffed this year so we could go through them. So if you look at all the updates this year, there were a grand total of 15 champions buffed. You have Skull Lord Vargul, Tremeria, Constantine, Oltan, the Calamitous, Allele, Ashnar, Werlim, Gallius, Norog, Mountain King, Blind Seer, Diamant, Coppercoin, Androck the Glorious, and then this most recent one, which only had Coronar. That's 15 in total, guys. Now, I used ChatGPT, but apparently there are 963 champions in Raid Shadow Legends, which is insane. We are literally about to hit 1,000 champions. Buffing 15 per the first 8 months, right, would mean that we get less than 2 buffs a month on average, and that they have currently only buffed 1.5% of the total roster of champions available in Raid. Why is that an issue? Well, there's a lot of different reasons. It's an issue because you don't have enough change coming into the game. You have so many champions in this game that are obviously very, very bad, right? Champions that when you pull them on a shard event, you are going to be extremely disappointed. Champions that when you pull them will make you less likely to want to continue to play Raid. Now, you might argue they might want to make you whale more, and maybe that's what Plarium thinks here, but overall, when you're buffing so few champions per month, you're not really allowing the game to change. You're not changing metas. And the other things with most of these buffs is most of these buffs are not that great. Like, I was actually looking through these, and they're either anywhere from just outright bad buffs. An example of that would be Werlim. His buff was frankly bad. I tested this champion. The champion is still terrible, still god awful. It's a void champion. And even after getting buffed, he's still terrible, meaning that it's probably going to be another year or 2 before he gets another buff. Like, that can't happen. We have to have a better job of buffing champions in this game, right? Like Ashnar, that was a good buff. Werlim, that was a terrible buff. Calamitous, that was a great buff. Allele, that was a great buff as well. Constantine, just okay. Oltan of the Shell, I mean, mediocre, I think, at best. Didn't really do much, reading it again here. I didn't test him, so I'm not 100% capable of saying that I tried him myself, but just reading his kit again, there's nothing here that really makes him someone you want to get absolutely crazy about, right? Like, I'm not saying every champion needs to be meta, don't get me wrong, but there are so many bad champions, you just want them to be good. You know what I mean? You want them to be good, especially after they get a buff. In my opinion, if a champion gets a buff, if they have Plarium come down and reach out and try to fix their kit, at the very least, after that buff is over, the champion should be good. There is zero excuse for them to be anything less than good. And unfortunately, a lot of these buffs don't result in that. They don't result in these champions being what I would call good or being competitive at all compared to a lot of other champions that you could pull, right? Tremeria's buff, again, Tremeria, Void Legendary. Her buff overall, just okay. Like, just okay. She gets a little bit more immunity to the true fear, and she gets a block debuffs buff on her A3. Wee, 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 wee. Super excited for that. Like, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. And it's something that definitely needs to be addressed, because in this video, Plarium said they did not have plans to buff more champions, right? And I can't for the life of me understand why. Why would you not want to buff more champions? Because if you buff more champions and if you make old champions relevant, you give people reasons to pull for those champions on shard events, or reasons to whale out and try to plus for those champions. Or alternatively, if someone pulls one of those bad champions and they're a low to mid spender, right? They do spend money in the game. They manage to pull a Whirlum. Instead of being incentivized to quit, they're maybe incentivized to continue, right? To continue to play the game. It's just one of those things that I wanted to make a video on it, because it's a personal, I think, pet peeve of mine that we don't have more of these buffs getting done, and more of these buffs getting done that are quality, because a lot of times these buffs are as simple as, hey, damage multiplier increased, or hey, we just added an extra turn, right? They're not entire massive kit changes the vast majority of the time. Like, look at Mountain King, for example. I still need to do a full test on him, and certainly he's gotten more damage, but this is a champion that's all single hit stuff, right? All single hit things. We gave him an extra turn. Cool. We gave him like some more damage, decreasing skill cooldown, but we didn't give him anything really great. We didn't give him something that goes through, for example, Stone Skin. Like, we gave him the ability to go through block damage, right? So a little bit more stuff, but like, if you're going to sit here and buff a champion, buff them for real. Look at what the meta is and make them good. Make them, especially a champion like this, which is primarily going to be something you would probably see in PvP, although you have niche PvE uses for them. But like, give him a place. Give Mountain King a place in PvP. Give him a block revive. Give him the ability to go through Stone Skin. Give him stuff that addresses what is in the meta currently when you're doing the buff. Because that is, I think, one of the frustrating things about playing Raid, is that you can collect so many I mean, God, this buff was terrible. Diamond Copper Coin. Good Lord, this is a terrible buff. You know what I mean? You can collect so many champions that are just absolute trash. And I guess there's something to be expected about not having, you know, every champion be good. I guess every single champion can't be good, of course, but certainly the ones you buff absolutely should. I mean, this Coronar buff is frankly unbelievably disappointing, because basically he only gets significantly better if you have someone else on the team with him. You shouldn't need another champion to make your Void Legendary champion actually good. But that's basically the gist of what this buff is. Like, you only really get solid value out of it if you have another champion on the team in order to make it work. Like, that's not a good buff. That's not a good buff at all. So, you know, I'm curious if you feel the same. I would imagine that most people do, that they would like to see more buffs. Again, we are in August, about the end of August. We've had 15 buffs for the year. That's less than 2 champions buff per month. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask Plarium to buff a minimum of 5 champions per month. Over the course of a year, that's 60 champions, right? Now, do they release 60 new champions every year? It certainly feels like it. They have no problem releasing brand new champions with convoluted and complex kits. So you can't sit here and tell me that they don't have the ability to buff more champions when it's super simple most of the time, and small things that are done as opposed to massive kit changes. Like, it's much harder to create a new champion than it is to buff an existing one. And I understand they need new champions because people need to pull shards, and this is a business, but for the love of God, please go back and actually buff these champions for real. And if you get it wrong, this is the other thing too. If you get it wrong and it's not a good enough buff, and Whirlum is a great example of this, this buff is just truly horrendous, fix it right away. Go back and say, hey, you know what? We screwed up this buff. We're gonna add him again. We're gonna get it right this time. We're gonna listen to feedback. We're gonna make sure that we actually buff this champion so that when you pull this guy, you're not absolutely massively disappointed and less likely to want to play the game, right? I don't know. It's the one thing in that entire update video. There were other things that were small stuff, but it was the one thing that really stood out to me of like, oh, there's so much good positive news in this. There's awesome things to be excited about, and I certainly am. But oh my God, change your philosophy on this. And the other thing too is they said they won't buff epic champions. Why? There are so many people that use epic champions in this game in a whole variety of content. Why are you not able to buff an epic champion or two every month? Why couldn't you buff 3 legendary champions, right? Or a mythical and 2 Legos if they need it. There's obviously not that many mythicals, but 3 legendary champions a month and 2 epic champions a month. Is that really that hard to do? And think about what a massive improvement that would be to people that have those champions, how excited they would be to know that a champion that was in the vault maybe could be taken out and actually used again, right? Or alternatively, a champion that was in the vault could come out and then you could try to get another copy of them if you are a whale or a kraken, which again leads to more spending, which leads to the game staying alive. So I just wanted to talk about it because for me, though everything else was very positive about this update for the vast majority of it, this is one thing where I really think Plarium needs to change their philosophy. And here's what I'll say. In the past, I truly believe that Plarium did not give a shit about what I or any content creator or any community member said. I'm not going to lie. Like, I really actually felt like they didn't care. But this last buff, or I should say this last change, these patch notes have me thinking differently. Like maybe they actually really do listen to feedback. Maybe they do care about what people are saying about the game and care about those things. My camera cut out right in the middle of my exciting rant, so I have no idea where I left off. But I'll just say this. I understand it's not the easiest things to buff champions, right? I understand that it takes more time, but it's a necessity. It keeps the entire game fresh. It gives people a reason to pull shards for different things. It gives people a reason to continue playing because a champion that they already had can come out of the vault. And again, like if you're a low to mid spender, you're not going to have every champion in the game like the Krakens do, like myself, which has not every, obviously, there's some really important exceptions, but the vast majority of champions. So all I'm saying is this: I see no downside. I think people spend more money when you buff more champions, and I don't think it would be the hardest thing in the world to buff 3 legendaries and 2 epics every month. That's 60 champions a year, right? 5 a month, 12 months, 60 champs a year. Frankly, if you need help, I'm sure I'll put it like this. I'll help you figure out what champs to buff. I'm happy to do it, Plarium. And I'm sure other content creators will be willing to do it as well. But I'd love to know you guys. Do you agree with me here that you think there should be more buffs? If you were choosing champions to buff, do you want only legendaries? Do you want epics? I genuinely want to know what the community thinks about this. Like, is it only legendaries now? We don't care about the epics, because that was what that conversation, with, I believe it was Boozer, or maybe a Boozer Nub, kind of came out that Banana Jam was like, yeah, we don't really want to buff epics because then we're not buffing legendaries. Well, I say, why not buff both? Why not buff both? Because God knows, for as many bad legendaries as there are in this game, there are even more bad epics that also really need a helping hand. And my whole thing is this: if you're going to have close to 1,000 champions in the game, you got to do your best to keep as many of them relevant as possible. At least that's my personal opinion. Again, would love to hear what you think. So this was the one thing from that update that I did want to call attention to, that I really don't think Plarium is doing a good enough job. And I know they can do better because they have done better in the past. Buffs used to be more plentiful and more important and more impactful in the first several years of Raid being out. There is zero reason why they can't do better now. So anyway, just wanted to call attention to this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know also, what champions do you want to see get buffed the most? I'm really curious. What's on your wish list? I think top of my wish list, there's so many champions that are bad, right? That I'm like, God, man, I don't even know. There's so many to choose from. But one of the ones I've always wanted to see buffed, where is he? I think he's in, what is he in, Dark Elves? Yeah, he's in Dark Elves. My boy Fatalis Blade Master, always one that I wanted to get buffed for the longest time. Certainly could use it. So let me know what champions you'd like to see get buffed. God knows there's a ton. You look at any faction and you can pick out 3, 4, 5, 6 different champions. Chromax that needs a buff, right? Rule needs a buff. Blind Seer just got one. It's okay, but not incredible. Certainly, you could give another buff to Tremeria. You could give a buff to Supreme Kill. I mean, you get the gist. There's so many champions that need them. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Can't wait to read the comments. And as always, I'll catch you on a video soon. Big Papa Drock out.